Hey guys, welcome back to another Rascal Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about the Disney film that I consider to be very underrated is Treasure Planet. Now, you see me cover a few of the underrated movies on my channel. And yeah, I know there's some really big hits like Lion King and Aladdin and Tangled and just stuff to name a few, but they've been reviewed like a lot. I mean like a lot by bigger channels, by smaller channels, by cinema fans of all ages, so I kind of didn't want to review those here. I'll save them for pause with Mama Entertainments, which you should definitely subscribe to, by the way, both pause and for SoFab. I personally didn't want to cover those on here because they've been talked about like a lot already. I want to talk about some things that like people really don't know about or could get more attention, or even some little bit tidbit news when I talk about live action remakes or the Proud Family returning or things like that. Now for Treasure Planet, for me, I saw it as a kid. I saw it again a little bit later on Netflix, but I actually saw the movie first on TV. And then later I kind of rewatched it later. They had it available on Netflix. And when I revisited, it wasn't like recently, it was like a couple years ago. I still really love this film. Now for this one, it's sort of a sci-fi take on the story of Treasure Island, which is why it's called Treasure Planet. So instead of the mythical island that's full of treasure, it's a whole planet that's covered in nothing but gold and jewels and stuff. And yes, this has more of a sci-fi setting where they're in space instead of on the open seas, which I think was actually a really creative idea for them to do at the time. Because now sci-fi is like pretty much everywhere, on every streaming service, every TV show, some type of sci-fi drama or something. But here they were trying to make an older story seem new. Plus, it's also public domain, so they kind of had a right to it anyway. And of course, they have a pretty creative cast of aliens in here. Now, of course, for Jim Hawkins, of course, he's not an alien. I mean, he and his mother are probably the only humans that I really saw in this movie. I don't know if John Silver counted as one. He was technically a cyborg. But I guess he would count, sort of. But still, they really didn't have that many humans in this movie. It was kind of like with Voltron, where you had your set cast of humans and everyone else was an alien. And granted that the aliens were very creatively designed, and like they all look like they were from other planets. They didn't just look like humanoids with multicolored skin or just some antennas here and there, extra arms or something. They actually looked like people from other planets. Now for here, they kind of keep the story of Jim wanting to find this place full of treasures to help his mom. And for here, instead of a pirate ship, is more of like a kind of sort of pirate spaceship. Really got space pirates on here. And they actually try to develop more of a father-son type relationship between Jim and John Silver. And it actually wasn't a bad idea. I don't think I've read the original story. I don't think I have. Because I've recently been getting into this habit where I read the source material first and then watch the adaptation, regardless of who's in charge of it, because in Disney's history, they seem to get a lot of things wrong when it comes to their recent book adaptations. But for this point in time, they hadn't been doing that yet. So when I got to here, I think it was actually a nice idea they wanted to make John Silver sort of a father figure for Jim, because of course in this movie Jim only has his mother, which I think was accurate to the book anyway. I believe. I'm not sure. I haven't read it, so you can correct me if you want. But for here, at least I could say that they didn't take out the mom. They just kind of took out the dad, which seems to be this rule of Disney. You can only have like one parent at a time, but whatever. But for here, John Silver kind of takes that place of a father figure, where if you read the story, you kind of know that John Silver is going to be the one to take the treasure anyway. And it actually does make the impact of his betrayal more of a sting, because you kind of grown attached to his character too. I mean, you know he's not a completely good guy, but you kind of liked him enough because he didn't seem like he was all that bad, and he actually did consider Jim as a friend. And I like that they tried to build a more of a friendship between them before the upcoming betrayal, and you see that John Silver really isn't that bad of a guy, but when it came to Treasure, he tried to do whatever he could. He actually felt bad about betraying Jim and so forth, and I think that was actually a good concept that they added to it. And you also have other characters like Captain Amelia and Dr. Doppler, who are sort of this like animal. They're kind of animal-like in their design. They're anthropomorphic. You have Scrooge, who's this giant scorpion, lobster-looking alien that's trying to take out some of the crew so he can get the treasure for himself. And it's actually a pretty creative ideas for all the aliens. They really took advantage of the sci-fi setting. And they tried to do as much as they could with the animation, which is really breathtaking. The soundtrack's incredible. I mean, it's not just all space and power and something generic. It really is like adventurous and full of wonder, and it really gets you into the feel of the movie of it literally being out of this world. And I personally really love this movie. I thought it's pretty much another one of my favorite Disney films. And apparently, it did well with critics, but it looks like it didn't make much at the box office. And they were gonna try again, and they were actually planning on writing a sequel, but after the little mid-company that Disney had got bankrupt, I think they bought out a company that was making the film, making the animation. It was supposed to be a sequel. And it will follow Jim and what happened after the end of the film and re-encountering John Silver, but they had thrown away the project after the company that was started working on it got bought out. Same thing like with Meet the Robinsons and I believe Oliver and Company and stuff. There were actually plans to do sequels to a lot of movies that only have one film. They were supposed to be sequels, and they ended up like changing their minds and throwing it out. But no, on Disney, since they like to reboot everything, they might just bring some of these projects back. So who knows? Maybe they'll bring back a sequel to Treasure Planet. Now again, I really love this movie. It really succeeds on every level. It has great animation. There's actually something, fantastic doesn't even begin to be described. It's beautiful animation, really well designed and likable characters, great soundtrack, great job keeping accurate to the story and the source material while still adding a new twist to it to make it even more interesting. It's a really great voice cast. I think everything about this movie just really worked, and it's just a shame that it didn't get a lot of recognition at the time it came out, because this is now considered one of those types of cult classic movies for Disney. And, I really hope that more people will watch it. I've seen lots of people make spoofs out of it, of course, on YouTube. I would just love for more people to see this movie. I mean, movies like this, and Brother Bear, and Meet the Robinsons and stuff, they deserve way more attention than they got in the first place. They are just fantastic movies, and this is just one of them. And I definitely recommend you watch it. Now, I recommend getting the DVD or going to Disney Plus if you have the account. If not, you can always just buy it on DVD. Amazon may have it as well. Netflix, unfortunately, no longer have it because of their contract with Disney has ended. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this review, and you guys let me know what you thought of the movie Treasure Planet. Did you really love it too? Or did you think it was the sci-fi thing was a little too much for it, didn't really fit? Have you read the original Treasure Island story? If so, you can let me know about both the movies and the book, if it's something I should read since it's more classic literature. And that's it for this review. I'll see you guys next time. Later.